Hello there. Welcome back to the UnNamed Production Company. We're back. It's been a little while, but we're back with Hot Springs Island campaign using the basic fantasy role-playing game. I'm GM Plague. Go Caleb Chess. Find me on Facebook or PlagueWinds Twitter. We're gonna start. Everyone introduce themselves, and then we will start the game. We'll go to next to me, which is Sam.
All right, thank you. Well, everybody will notice by my sexy voice here that I am a little bit sick, but I'm excited to be getting back to session 6 now of Hot Springs Island, playing Brother Ivar Farin, and hopefully we will survive the day and see how things go. So excited to be playing, and hopefully we'll have many more sessions to come.
All right. Right below here is Karen.
Hey everyone, I'm Karen. I'm excited to be back. It's been a little bit of kind of a break that we've had here, so being new to the group, we're just trying to get back into it and find out about this island that we find ourselves on. And I'm playing Jokashia Marsk. She's a human ranger, so excited to be back. Thanks.
All right, next to her, Michael.
Hey, Michael, I'm playing Neduri Hammerbrow of the Cave Mace clan, dwarf fighter, and hoping to finally make good on this pony quest that I started on. Again, if I can survive.
The overarching pony quest.
Yep.
And last but not least, Nate.
What's up? I'm Nate. I do have like one or two disparate YouTube channels. One of them has a long-running campaign called Dragon's Blood on it that I never actually posted the last videos to, and I'm not sure I ever will. I still have them, but at any rate, I'm playing Grimwald Underfoot, the devious, not very intelligent halfling thief. Yeah, and I swear I'm not a troll. I won't ever use the excuse this is what my character would do just to like ruin the fun for everybody else. But only because that's what my character actually would do.
All right. And so to recap, last time, after a couple sessions of our characters getting a foothold on the island and pretty much realizing they don't know where in the heck they are, and that this is a pretty hostile island, they finally ventured out from their campsite and they found, for lack of better terms, what looks like a whale graveyard. It was big open sand that just had all these bodies of whales. None of them are skeletons, really, though. They're all look like a lot of them were freshly killed, but how could that many whales be killed at once? And in between all these whales, there was a clan of what looked like ogres were harvesting the meat, and they got snuck up by one of them, which was this interesting, very skinny ogre. Kind of nudged them towards the main group at the whales, and you found out one of our characters recalled something from the journal they found. I think that was Jokashia.
Yeah, it was Grimwald. He was flipping through the journal.
Oh, it was Grimwald, okay,
and
yeah.
Then I handed it to Jokashia because I was like, it says something.
Yes, and then from that you kind of got that this is the Night Axe clan. They are kind of like ogres, and they're friendly-ish. They pretty much the big thing is you found that they ruled like the northern part of the island, seemed to be their territory. And so you kind of got nudged toward them. They were somewhat hostile, but there was a shaman type one there who spoke very like broken common, and kind of put you to a deal if you rescue the body of one of the ogre's brothers. Oh no, that's what you wanted to go to their village and see if you could escape the island. They kind of said, well, if you can get the body back, maybe we'll bring it to the village and then we'll see. That was deeper into the whale graveyard, and what was around the body was was necrotic ooze, which they fought and defeated and got the body. But Neduri now has a spot on his arm, which is where this thing hit him is not looking good at all. And regardless of sleep and healing, it's not going away. And I believe that is where we left off, as you are now trekking through the woods with a bunch of ogres in tow, some in front, some behind you, to what was called Glavrock Village. And so we'll begin there. As you're trudging through, is there any RPing you guys want to get out of the way first?
Neduri, are you like making it obvious that you have something on your arm, like you scratching at it, like what's going on with you?
Yeah. So, Caleb, kind of, how does it look? I mean, is it like highly visible?
Oh yeah, it's visible. Unless you cover it, but it's pretty. If it's exposed skin, it's very visible.
Yeah.
I'll let you. You can describe it. It's pretty bad. Just put it that like the flesh like looks dead, like rotting. It's like
Okay,
a patch on your arm that's just it looks like rotted flesh.
So as we're like trekking through, I'll look for like a big, like a wide. I'm envisioning like rainforest type leaf.
Oh yeah, it's a jungle, yeah.
Yeah, just something I can kind of like cover and pack it with, and try and shrug it off. But just Neduri just kind of winces and groans. Every time we hit like a rough patch of terrain. Yeah, so like trying to hide it, but it's pretty obvious.
All right, and help my memory. What NPCs are with you guys? I know Rice is there.
There's like 4 of them. We've got
So did all the named ones go?
Yeah, we got the Villy,
Andros.
Yep.
And I know Rice had the Talgo, the brother Talgo.
He did.
Okay. Good. All right. So as you're trudging through, at one point, Brother Tal comes up, and he kind of up to you, Neduri, up next to you, and looks at you, says, "May I look at it?" This is like as you're walking through.
Yeah, and so Neduri will kind of like peel back the leaves, and there's probably like some gooey adhesion going on there that just makes him wince even more.
Yeah. So as you take the leaf off, actually, there's a tiny piece of like your skin came off with the leaf.
And Neduri like curses in Dwarven.
Yeah. Now as you lift the leaf up, you can see there's like a slime or a mucus now, like in that patch. See, brother, as you lift up Brother Tal, you see him kind of make like a grimace.
Always a good sign when the doctor grimaces.
And I mean, every so often he kind of like looks forward, make sure he's not walking into a tree or something. But he gets close to it, goes through his bag. Once again, he takes out a couple of powders. He sniffs the powders. Takes out one. It's almost like a light brown. It looks like cinnamon. Like it's that color. It looks like cinnamon powder.
It's actually pumpkin spice.
Yeah. Sure, why not? No, he uses a lot of shells with magic. That's his thing. He takes that out. So, if you're okay with it, I want to try this. No guarantee it'll work.
I mean, I'm pretty much ready for anything there, friend. It's not looking good.
All right. So he lifts your arm up. He like sprinkles this powder. He doesn't rub it in. He just sprinkles it all throughout the patch. There's no pain. Now, the pain that you're feeling from this dulls some, but it doesn't look any different.
Right.
So then he looks and says, there's no change in a couple minutes. I'm not sure what else I can do.
Neduri gets this like really grave, like kind of pale look in his face, and just whispers like, "If we have to take the arm, you'll have to take the arm."
All right, here's What are your max hit points?
Not great.
Mhm.
8. I'm currently at 4, but
Okay. I dropped my pen.
I mean a little bit more XP and I'd be
Okay, so you're at 4 and your max is 8. Okay. All right. All right. So unless there's anything else, we're gonna start a new scene. After a little while of trekking through the jungle, you come out, and what you see in front of you, not quite I mean, oh, they would have told you this over a day's of travel probably to get to the village. You've only been traveling, I don't know, maybe 2 hours at this point. You come upon an area that is this 20-foot high palisade is surrounding it. Very heavy duty, thick timbers, big spikes at the top, tied together. It's got a gate that's open. Inside you can see what looks like 4 pretty crude like stone huts. Um, and as you kind of come out, it's in like a clearing. And as soon as you enter this clearing, you just get hit with this smell. You get the smell of like blood, mud, like swine, like just boom, it just hits you right in the nostrils. Um, and as they start bringing you closer. And as you get closer, you can hear a lot of grunting and squealing from within. And at this point, I can say it's evening. Um, so not too long before they get there, the shaman guy kind of stops, turns. You see him look up. He points to the village. Stay here. Night. Village. Next day. He's kind of like looking at all of you.
I'll look up at him and like I'm looking way up at him. I'll say, "Where sleep?"
He just like looks down. And he's just pointing and looking to the village.
No place in particular, just the village.
You see his mouth start to move, but you don't have to roll for it. He doesn't know how to say it. He doesn't really know common. He just knows certain words. He doesn't know like how to translate it from his language to common. He just points towards the village.
Okay. Well, I guess I've slept in worse.
You see a couple of the other like ogres. They do these like big belly laughs, like pointing at Grimwald.
I give them a very like a animated kind of distinguished like, and I refurl my snake scarf, my snake skin scarf. I'm like, I just start kind of trekking forward towards the village.
You see, they do this big belly laugh. Their heads are up, and then once again they start walking towards this. It's not really a village. It's literally like 4 huts. It's not. Well, you'll see when you get there what it is, if you go.
Yeah,
So
I'm headed that direction.
Ogre starts heading towards this place. Do you follow?
I would. I mean, I think I would be kind of always keeping an eye on Neduri just to make sure where he is, but I think you would see, I would follow, but there's definitely much more of like a, I don't know, like a look of almost resigned, to our fate kind of look on my face. So
Now, besides that one spot, he looks fine. I mean, that one spot looks really bad, but I mean, he hasn't lost color to his face. He's not walking like limping. So I mean, I guess you're at half hit points, so you're kind of beat up. So besides that and that patch, he does look well as healthy as he can be.
yeah, definitely worried looking though, for sure.
Oh, emotionally, no, he's probably screwed. But all right, so as you get up there, you enter. Now, as you get up close, you can see the palisade. This is a very, very well constructed palisade. It would take a lot to knock this thing over. I mean, these like the wooden stakes are used. There's these giant like tree trunks are just slammed into the ground. You can see they got points on the top, like double knotted with rope. This is a very like just sturdy, well built palisade. Um, and once you get close, you can see there are 4 stone huts. The 2 in the back, and pretty much the gate opens right in between. There's uh 2 in the back, 2 in the front, and kind of the walkway goes right down the middle. The 2 in the back, one of them has what looks like a pen next to it. And you can see bits of like dried blood around the entrance to this hut. The other one in the back has what looks like wooden racks and barrels with some. It looks like leather, like hanging off some of them. And as you get in, there is a small ramp that goes down right inside the palace, right inside the gate. Pretty much going in, there is a ramp that goes down to this like 15-foot across crater in the ground. It's just filled with boars, and they're all squealing, grunting. They look pretty healthy, but there's a bunch of them in there, and there's about I don't know six other ogres here. Half of them seem to be on one side, half of them are on the other side of this little compound. Um, and as you get there, everyone seems to go like you see the ogres. They're like they don't shake hands. They like slap each other on the shoulder. Probably if it was one of you, you'd probably go flying across this compound. Um, the shaman guy turned around and says, and he points to the boar pen and says, "This boar pen village day away." He points to one of the other huts, says, "Sleep there. Night fall soon." You see him like look around and says, "Don't go after dark." And he's like pointing to the jungle.
Neduri kind of chuckles at the thought of wandering off into the darkness.
Yeah, you're kind of far from your camp now.
Yeah, and I think maybe as Neduri is chuckling, I would sort of give a side eye to Grimwald, like, oh man, if something's out there that seems tempting, he might just be like, let's go check.
See, and so, is it something, Neduri, did you say that out loud, or was it just?
No, I'm chuckling at the thought that I would even venture
chuckling.
away from like
Okay.
being seated, like I'm good right here, buddy.
So the Grimwald kind of gets just a darker thought in his mind, and he thinks more like, oh, if he does wander off in the wilderness, it'd probably be more like a dog who knows it's going to die. But that's inner monologue, I think.
Oh,
Maybe it was meant to be, but it was, it came out.
all right. Now the like Andros, Villy, Tal, and Riza, they all kind of like they stop not far in. You see them kind of all like looking around, like so. They're like what now type thing. They're like After about 5 minutes, um, the ogres they start bringing out obviously probably dead pig, and they start a big roaring fire in the middle of this compound. They put on a skewer, start cooking it, and the shaman guy and that kind of calls you over. And all the ogres are kind of sitting. There's no seats or straw pads or anything. They just sit right on the ground. Shaman guy kind of motions all of you over and motions like pointing to the ground, like join us, like sit. Now he stands to one side of the fire and kind of with the shadow and the light flickering. I mean, he's got that skull on his head. He's got these long. I don't think it looks like dreads, but it's not really his hair. Kind of gives off this almost menacing look now. Says, and he's like he's trying to like talk to all the other ogres. Says, "These outsiders come help. They got Brock's body. from the creature. Then he looks to, I guess he'll look to like Ivar, says, tell the story if you want.
Ivar totally would. Sam does not want to because I'm gonna save my voice, but yeah, effectively.
He's gonna tell a story. He's
Oh,
like asking for permission, kind of.
oh, I see. Okay, yeah, then I would just simply nod.
You see him. He picks up stuff from the ground. It looks like it's a bunch of like bones. And you see him. He holds one up. He says something in language you don't know, and then he breaks the bone. And then as soon as he breaks it, you start hearing the wind rustling around this compound, and all the dirt and leaves start going in this little like tornado, and then it forms into some type of shape. It almost looks like it's a snake person, like the head of a snake and the slithering body, and it's got arms and it's decked out in this like very ceremonial. It's not a very detailed look, but it looks like it's decked out in some type of ceremonial armor. And he says, "These ancients, says, all plants around here because them. What happened to them? Don't know." I says, "Buildings over there." And he points in the direction. I mean, if you look, there's nothing there, so you don't know how far away it is. He makes like a motion like he's making like a ziggurat motion. He doesn't know how to say ziggurat. Says, "That's all that's left of them, ancients. Then no one knows how they're not around. No one knows. Then the pointy ears came." You seem like he looks to all of you again, make sure none of you are pointy ears. Says, "They build empire." Says, "They use power. They grow mighty. Destroyed this place. They turn it into..." You see, he's getting like angrier. "Exploit, destroy the land." Says, "Then they too disappeared. There's now island run by that." And he points in different direction. You can see in the background, looks like a volcano. It's far away, but there's a volcano. I mean, it's not spewing out. It's definitely an active one, but it's not like currently erupting. Large fireman in there. Evil island. We used to be slaves. Bad, bad men. Killed off most of our tribe. We did not. What do you know that word? I'm going to say it anyway. I don't care if he knows this, just to get the story across. We used to work mines, crystals. When we not keep up quota, he killed us. Only 6 females left in our tribe. Anyone didn't meet up was old. They killed. We break away. We now, Night Axe tribe, separate. And we fight to free ourselves from him. He points to the volcano. The fireman has army. He has giant fire lizards. He points to he picks up like a rock, and it's like that it's obsidian that you've seen on this island many times. Giant people made out of this. He has them. Wants to exterminate us. All we have our village. This is our food pen in the beach. Why do you come here?
So while he was talking, Grimwald would have been trying to like sneak a peek at the map to see like in the different directions that he was pointing, so he could identify maybe what he was pointing at. But then a thought occurs to him, and he looks at the front of the book, and he realizes that there is a name printed on the front of the book. It's like B French or something, or it's on the map, and it says, "If found, return to B French." And so he has clearly this guy has like documented the entire island. So I would just say, I have a quick question, and I wouldn't like hold up the book or anything like that. I would try my best to make sure that they didn't see it. And I would say, does the name French mean anything to you?
You see all the ogres kind of like look at each other, like very like, huh? What? No.
Well, worth a shot.
Do you know?
No, just English.
Hmm? It's very confused. Says, this island not friendly to outsiders. Firemen will find you, will enslave you. You will probably die here. I do not know how to get off island, but you must leave.
I'll turn over to maybe Neduri, because he's a dwarf. He can build things. And I'll say to him, no, actually, is the captain of the ship with us?
He is. They're kind of behind you, just they're listening to the tale.
I'll make eye contact with Neduri, and then I'll look back at the captain and kind of try to encompass both of them in what I say, and I'll say, these guys are really big and really strong. They can help us build a boat. I'm just gonna say that.
And you see Andros kind of like, he nods. Andros kind of says, one problem. Not good wood here. It's like, yes, I know it's lots of trees, but not a lot of good building wood. And then he looks at the wall. Says, we find stuff like that maybe. But then he looks back. He says, I don't think they know what a boat is.
So while that's going on, after the "you guys need to get out of here" comment, Neduri just looks down at his arm like getting out of here would be great, but living long enough to do so would be something else. And Neduri's going to ask this shaman guy if there's anything he can do about this like weird necrotic thing happening.
So you show him the patch?
Yeah, but like extra careful this time to like not lose any more flesh with the leaves.
Okay, as you
Got a brain dead with the monkey rat.
I will say, as he was narrating all that, everything he was talking about was like the sand, the dirt, and the leaves were making the shapes of like these snake people, the elves, a large fire guy, some like lizards. It was like this wind was making these shapes the whole time. That's now like died down. But as you show him that, he just looks and he goes, "Were you touched by the creature?" Brothers who touch creature, they become one of them.
I scooch a little further away from him.
What weapon was I carrying? So Neduri pulls out the hand axe, and who was it that was it Andros
No, it was
on the path?
Brother Tall, I think, right? Was the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll grab Tall by like the scruff of his shirt and hand him the axe.
All right, hand the axe. He looks at it. What?
Do it.
Why do I have an axe? Do it.
You heard him.
I know I'm baby many things, but with an axe, huh?
A sword then.
Yeah, like this one.
Start looking to see who's got blades. I don't want to become one of those things.
Oh, you want me to chop your arm off? Oh,
Somebody get me a drink.
Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. You see him. He takes out a coin.
As he's about to flip his coin, I think I would step in and I would say, Neduri, I understand your thoughts here, but perhaps we could wait just a little bit. If it's contained, you may have some time, and perhaps we could find a cure. After all, it would be better to have 2 arms, hoisting 2 mugs instead of 1. I imagine that would be more appealing for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Eyebrows instantly perk up, like this calculation had not been made prior, and this is like really strong dwarven math.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll like there's still a fire going, right?
Oh yeah.
So Neduri will take probably the same axe and just kind of dip the edge in the fire. And then once we're, hanging out, just start trying to cauterize it.
Oh, you're trying to cauterize the wound.
Yeah, just kind of like burning it. And he will seek out whatever fermented mood-altering beverage that these guys may have.
Ah. Let's see, do they have something? Yes, they do. And how vile is it? Okay. All right. So do you ask for
Oh yeah.
All right, couple of them like look, and they're like, one guy like hits another guy in the chest, like one guy runs off in the hut. And he comes out. It's it looks like it's not a cup or anything. It looks like it's a hollowed out bone that he brings over.
Sick.
And he he looks at it, he smiles, and he looks at you like, And then he kind of slowly hands it to you.
I'll take just a brief sniff.
Okay, it's for a dwarf, this is pretty vile. Not
splash a little in the wound and slug it back.
Yeah, not like it's gonna kill you instantly type vile, but just it's pretty harsh, like bitter brew.
All right, yeah, go for it.
Splash. So you take a gulp, you splash the wound, and you try and cauterize it.
Yeah.
Make a dragon breath save. Mainly because I don't know what else to do for this.
All right, and that's a D20, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be either that or Death Ray.
Death Ray, yeah.
All right, so that is a 9 plus 3, 12.
And I said dragon breath, right?
Yeah, he needed a 15.
Yep. All right. So.
Yeah.
Okay, you got lucky. So you take 1 point of damage.
All right.
I rolled a d6, so you could have. You go to cauterize, and you get the axe on the wound, but where you hit, like where your skin should be, the axe just like goes right through that like rotted part, and you hit like the marrow, like the bone almost, and it just stings, and that's what the 1 point damage. So you start moving around wherever that's touching, like the skin is like wherever you touch that heated axe, it seems to like just burn right off, and then nothing's there afterwards. So do you want to keep trying to cauterize?
I'll just look at Ivar like and starting to maybe lose some of my inhibition from the drink. Just like, dude, do you see what's happening?
Yeah, and as he's doing that, I would
You can see it's like his like. You can see like a bit of his bones actually now like exposed.
Oh God! All right, and I mean I'm like pretty disturbed by what's going on right now, and I look to Neduri and I say, "You have it in your mind to continue this?"
Bro, I don't know.
I'd be like, clearly you can't do it yourself. And then I kind of like motioned to the guy who brought him the drink, and I was like, bring me one. And then I said, give me that axe.
Like just shrug, and they go in. Once again, it's this bone. It's like a hollowed out bone gives it to you. It's yeah. I mean, even to a human, this stuff is like it smells horrible.
Yeah, and I think I would like. I'm not even gonna sniff it because I think I saw Neduri sniff it. And he was like, whatever, and so I just kind of like I look at it a little bit apprehensively and then knock it back.
Oh, you gulp it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a huge bone, I won't take the whole thing, but definitely enough to give me a little liquid courage here.
Right. Okay, yeah, and you don't have to make a save or anything, but you're definitely you almost went straight to not quite hammered, but you went straight to drunk pretty much.
So I say, give me the axe.
Like you hammer back, it's like your whole body like convulses and like, oh yeah, it's there.
Yep.
All right.
And does Neduri give me the axe?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And so I'll hold it down into the fire again, and then I'll pick it up and I'll attempt to very like at the top shave that layer of necrotic skin off or whatever.
Okay.
Do you need me to make any kind of roll for that, or should he make another saving throw?
Good question. No, how about you make a no, now since you kind of know what happens, now it'll be a death ray save.
Who's making the save, Neduri?
You will.
Oh, I will. Okay.
You're yeah.
All right. I passed.
Okay.
Yep.
So as the axe gets close, Neduri, you get a flash of what you just did. It takes a lot of effort to hold your arm still, but Ivar just takes the axe I mean, you can feel the heat, but it doesn't like burn you to the core like you did. And just scrapes. You have to jump a little bit over that gap that you created and just scrapes off that. I mean, and you pick up the axe and you can just see it's like the flesh is almost like slime and mucus just kind of drips right off the axe. And I mean, it's his muscle. Where the one part, it's like his muscle is like showing. They like took off the top 2 layers of skin right away.
Do we still have some of that vile liquor like in these bone things?
Oh,
yeah. All right. And I think like as this is happening, I kind of look at it, and as this necrotic skin's just like falling off, I'm like, and then I take it off of his skin as I imagine he was like or whatever, trying not to scream, and I hold up the bone to him, not his bone obviously, but the bone that we're drinking from, and I hold it up, and I, as in to say, let's take another shot.
All right. Now at this point, you can see there's a lot of the other ogres. They didn't really know what was going on, but they know alcohol is being passed. So a bunch of them now have these and they all have these different. Some of them are carved almost like goblets, but they're all made out of these hollowed out bones cups. There's a bunch are being passed out now to everyone. Andros takes one. Tal takes one. Ryza declines. Vili declines.
I rolled for it. Neduri hurls at the sight of the sludgy, gooey
what used to be part of your arm.
Yeah. And then immediately after does agree and swigs the rest of the
All right.
bone
Anyone
liquor.
who drinks it is yeah, you're past buzz, not quite hammered.
So I was able to take off the necrotic skin, right? At this point.
Yes.
Okay, and so after we both knock it back and we're pretty drunk here, I'll hold the axe out just to make sure my hand is steady, and it does look steady. And then I say, "All right, Neduri, now we have to cauterize it." And I'll move it back over to the fire, and while it's kind of heating up the axe again, I'll reach into my pack and I'll just give him like a piece of leather or something, and I'll say, "Bite down on this."
Not gonna make a roll this time because I don't want to kill a character by cauterizing.
I mean, it probably would happen. His blood's all thinned out because of the liquor and all that. But
no, you would no rolling.
all right.
Bite down the leather and cauterize, and
Yep.
it does look horrible. I'll give it that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and so if he does, and I'll put the axe over to him one more time, and then before I do it, I kind of look into the bone that I had and realize that like it's empty, and I kind of look to him like, "Is yours empty too?"
Yep.
And then I just throw it on the ground, and I'm like, and I kind of just like squint a little bit, and then I'm like, as it starts to burn his flesh.
Drunken cauterizing.
Yeah.
Neduri calls Ivar's mother every name in Dwarven, and some other languages too. All into the leather.
Yep. And as long as Neduri doesn't swing at Ivar, he's not going to take it personal. But I think during this part, he would be like, doing the ministrations again, right? The Lord of Light, grant me strength, this whole thing. And then afterwards, I think would Neduri was Neduri sitting during this whole thing, or was he standing?
I envision after the whole first round where Neduri was trying to do it himself, that he would be just like laid out on the ground.
Okay. Yep. And then so then I think maybe after that, like after the wound is sort of cauterized or whatever, and I imagine Neduri is sort of laying there, having sort of survived this trauma, and I would have probably been on my knees, kind of like hunched over him doing this, and then I would like kind of put the axe, blade down into the earth or the sand or whatever, and I would sit next to him, and I don't think I'd say anything. I'd just kind of look over to him and try to catch his eye, and see what he does or says, or if he manages to stay conscious throughout the pain. But definitely that look of like, two soldiers that just like survived a shelling or something and are now sitting in the foxhole afterwards.
Neduri, at this point, I mean, earlier in the day, yeah, the fight took it out of you, and then this, and now getting burned, and then this alcohol. Yeah, you're not knocked out yet, but not too much longer. This will just you'll collapse pretty much.
Well, so Neduri will kind of like after a minute of like catching his breath, we'll pick up the axe and dust it off and put it back, kind of where it goes, and then sit up next to Ivar, take a deep breath, and then goes, "All right, now it's your turn," and then claps him over the back.
And I would actually let out a laugh at that, and I would say, "I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be able to sleep unless aided. Do dwarves seem to have nightmares if they drink too much? Because I'll tell you, humans tend to forget all their troubles."
Neduri just looks at him and says, "What do you mean too much?"
And then slightly intimidated by that, I'll just nod kind of or whatever, and I'll look over to the ogres or whatever, like, bring another one.
All right.
Yeah, and I intend to get so drunk that I pass out.
All right. So, Jakashia and Grimwald, what have are you partaking in this part festival, part part trying to heal?
Jakashia is not actually interested at all in the vile brew that the ogres are passing around. But if Grimwald is kind of sitting there, I think she might approach him about that book. Thinking it might be.
Yeah, when you come up to me, I'm actually I've got my snake skin off, and I've got my short sword trying to pry off scales. And I get one and I set it in a little stack, and if I mess one up, then it's just chucked off to the side. And so he's creating a neat stack of these little copper scales, and you've probably come up to me about 10 in as they're doing all this stuff. I'm sitting off the side. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing anything like that.
So I think she'd probably see what you're doing, not come too close, because she's not going to interrupt what you're doing, but she'd sit down kind of by you and just watch you silently for a little bit. And then when it looks like, you're kind of in the between scales or whatever, she'd, what you doing there?
He startles because you startled him. And he says, "Jeez, well, I'm taking the scales off this thing because I want to make a deck of playing cards. Because if I'm going to be stuck on this island with these fools, and they're probably over there screaming at this point to what they're doing, then I am going to at least have some form of entertainment. I refuse to let this define the rest of my life." And you see him actually kind of, when he says that, he goes back to whittling away at this. But he said that in a more serious tone than you've ever seen him say really anything else.
Yeah, and she'll look at you kind of pensively, realizing exactly like what you kind of just said here, that we could be here for a very long time. And I think at that point, she'll grab one of the other ends of the scarf and she'll start to help you take the scales off.
Awesome. Yeah, he probably would. What would he do? He would probably give you a quick tip as to one of the things that he found out. Like, if you do it this way, it ruins the scale, but if you do it this way, it seems to work every time. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and she would follow your instructions, actually. Without even like giving you any kind of flack or anything. Like, she's just follow along. Maybe you're not used to that, especially when she talked to you earlier, but in this case, she's definitely following your lead and your advice, and starts to try to pry them off as well.
Yeah, so he will continue unless there's any other conversation that you want to bring up. He stays silent.
I think at this point, Jakashi's actually quite silent as well. So maybe there's just like this friendly silence between the two of them, while the rest are off, screaming and doing all their things that they're doing over there. Silence is good.
Yes, well, Andros, let's see, he as soon as the alcohol is introduced, he takes one right away, downs it. And it looks like as soon as that he like hunches over, looks like he's about to throw up, keeps it in, kind of like shakes, takes another one, drinks it. But you can see he starts, like, his eyes like go up, gets a little wobbly. He sits down, says, "Well, that's pretty strong. Well, we find a boat. Let me know." And he just falls over, passed out. As that was happening, you see Brother Tal. He took one and he downed it two, and you see him. Like, his whole body language just shifted instantly. He kind of like, you can see he just like let loose. He kind of does like a yes, and then as he does like the yes, he just like falls over and passes right out. So they're both passed out. Villy, he decided not to partake. He kind of walks over to, I mean, it's not a ton of open ground here, but he is like his own spot. Just kind of sits there in that like his meditative pose that you've seen him cross-legged and his arms out. He doesn't have that like energy field around him anymore, but he's still sitting there meditating. Ryza, she has a bow. She's kind of, and as it gets dark, they do close the gate. She's used to going out and patrolling, kind of antsy because she can't do that. So she just kind of walks the perimeter of this palisade, making sure just nothing on the other side, or just trying to keep a watch. And so, unless there's anything else, we're gonna pass the night.
How many scales do you think between the two of us that we could get off of this thing, Caleb, before it's time to turn in?
How many you want?
52.
Between the two of you, you could probably get 52.
Actually, 54. We need 2 jokers.
Sure, 54. I mean, that's probably another like hour before like even the ogres kind of just could pass out. They offer you. Well, I mean, some of you, Neduri will probably pass out where you are outside. Probably Ivar will also. So Jakashia and Grimwald, they kind of point you to one of the huts. I mean, it's not. There's like straw laid out on the ground. That's pretty much it. It's
not
really. It's literally like a worker's hut, pretty much.
How much of the snake skin is left? If we took like, let's say, give or take, some ones that were busted 60 to 70 scales off of it, like how much of the snake skin would actually be left?
Let's see. Okay, so probably. Well, how much did you take? 60 or 70?
We'll say 65.
All right, so there's 35 scales left.
Okay, and roughly how large is each scale?
Honestly, a playing card's probably a good.
Okay,
I know,
good.
but like that's. I mean, they're not shaped like a card. They're shaped more like.
Yeah.
Like almost like a spade, kind of like the way snake scales.
Okay.
But I mean, easily. Well, you're a half. Yeah, fit in your palm. I mean, your palm they probably take up, but like in a human, probably fits right in the palm.
So yeah, as he's doing this and like getting these things sorted, it's probably a hefty hunk of, because these are legit copper, right?
Yep.
So the idea probably crosses his mind. He's not very inventive or intuitive, but he thinks like, well, this stuff isn't too terribly heavy. I wonder if there's a way to attach it to my leather armor in order to make it more fortified or to at least give it to somebody else who might be able to do that and fortify themselves with it. So he'll probably chop off the half of the snake, or the 2/3 of the snake that is descaled, and then keep the last third and roll that up into a ball and chuck it in his pack.
Okay.
And I don't know if Grimwald would have taken the broken scales, but if he doesn't, Jokashi would scoop those up and put those in her pouch.
All right, so 10 or 11. There's 10 or 11 of them then that he kind of discarded.
Yep.
I'm thinking she might actually try to, at some point, make them into arrowheads.
Okay, that is doable.
Well, actually, if he sees you picking those up, he'll ask, like, "What are you gonna do with the busted ones?"
I might see if I can repurpose them into arrowheads.
And with that, he'll just kind of nod. He'll take that into consideration as far as the further use of these copper scales.
All right, cool. All right. So if nothing else, night falls, torches go out, and it is pitch dark. You can't see anything when the torches go out. And once again, lots of noises from the surrounding jungle. Nothing seems to come. No banging against the walls. As bad as this place is, inside this little encampment. I mean, the pigs squeal all night, but this actually seems somewhat on the safe side. So who's gonna? So next morning, Neduri and Ivar will not wake up for when Jokashi and Grimwald You wake up. At some point, you wake up. It's morning. The palisade opens and a group of ogres leaves. And like as you're waking up, they don't say anything to you. Like no one's coming over doing anything. They just so there were 6 there, and I'd say probably another 6 came with you. So probably actually it's the 6. 4 of the ones that were there are the ones that left. And you see, yep, one of them was had almost like a leash, giant gray boar, not quite a dire boar, but much bigger than the other ones, like leading out on a leash. And
That's
then
cool.
they go out, they disappear into the jungle.
Is the shaman ogre around?
Yeah, he's there. Tim,
Oh.
he's by the fire. I mean, where the fire was, it's not lit anymore. He's there. He looks like he's polishing bones.
Takasha's going to go up to him and then kind of indicate towards the ones that left and where are they going?
Find food. Gray pig. Good finding.
With that, she kind of like nods and we'll watch what this guy is doing.
Yeah, he's literally. I mean, there's bones. A lot of these. He's got he's got like a pile of bones there. A lot of them look like probably the bones of those big orange birds you've seen. A lot of small bones. Nothing really big. A lot of like small bones, medium-sized bones. Looks like he's just like polishing them. Look at with his bare hand, wherever he like rubs the bone, it gets like this glistening white.
Are they animal bones? Like all of them?
So you're asking if there's human bones there, pretty much. I mean, how well would you? I mean, none of these look like they're big enough to be like a femur bone or an arm bone type. You're not sure, but nothing like. There's no human skeleton there. Like you don't see a rib cage or skulls.
And we're still alive, so she kind of is, breathing a slightly.
Yeah, no necks were split in the middle of the night.
I think at this point maybe she'll wander around, try to find out where Ivor and Neduri would have ended up.
Okay, as soon as you get out the hut, you see all 4 of them: Ivar, Neduri, Andros, and Tal. They're pretty much all sprawled out on the ground. They're all snoring, probably really loud. They're all sprawled out. It looks like they were just like thrown like on the ground. That's kind of what it looks like. I mean, they passed out from alcohol, but they're just laying there.
I would have liked to have found Villy, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, so is he up? If I find him, is he awake?
Yeah, he pretty much woke up. Them leaving kind of like was like woke a bunch of. He kind of woke up at the same time as that.
I'll come to him and I'll say, "Hey, I want to ask you a question." And I'll open up the book to the map where all this stuff started out. Listen, I'm not a very quick reader, but I'm pretty good at pictures. And what it looks like here is we're here, and I point to the HSO4 hex, and then I kind of walk my fingers across over the map, and I say,
"Actually, you're in the HSO8 hex still."
Oh, we're not in the encampment at HSO4?
That's the actual village.
I thought we were in the village.
Nope, you're in a boar pen. No, you were told it's about a day from this place.
Okay.
Kind of stay here during the night.
Okay, I understand now. So we're on top of the cliffs in HSO8, right?
Yep.
We're not down near the water.
No.
Okay. So then I'll just reframe that. Then I'll starting on that hex. I'll walk my fingers all the way over to HSO1. I'll be like, now look I think this village here, and I'll point to HSO4, is their village. These guys' village. But then all the way over here, the other side of the map, it looks like there's a whole other village. And if I turn the page here, it says name of the village is called Boar's Head. What do you think that's all about? Do you think there are more of these people? Should we ask? Is that like another tribe? Do they fight?
As you're before you finish talking to him, he kind of gives you a look, almost like, what are you talking to me for? Like, he's kind of like looking at you like, what? Then as you don't stop talking, he kind of realizes you won't just go away. So he kind of like takes the book, but as he takes it, kind of like, he takes it. It says Boar's Head. I also see the bone tree next to it. I mean, do you know if this thing is current?
Well, it's pretty accurate so far. And I'll point out like where we landed and then where we traveled through, where we found the first basalt thing. It's like it seems pretty relevant to like us surviving here. I don't know. It's a map.
Yeah, and then you see him point to like the lava area. He's like, I suggest avoiding there. Then he closes the book, kind of gives it back to you. That's it. He gets up and he's you see it out of like his pouch, he pulls out what you assume is like his spell book, and he starts kind of sits back. He kind of got up to stretch, and you kind of as he was stretching is when you came up and like, hey, like, here, look at this.
Yeah.
As he finished that, he sits back down and pulls out his book and starts reading it.
I will walk up behind him and stare over his shoulder and start reading his book with him if I can read it.
It's in common, yeah. It is a lot of it is numbers. It looks like, I don't know how much your character knows. It looks like a lot of like math equations almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really like a language. You see numbers and letters together, and you see these weird symbols, and then like some more letters and numbers.
Oh, that's cool. It looks like a bird. What's it mean?
You see him. He literally does like a. As you're reading, as you do that, he literally goes like. That was me. Don't. He just kind of like looks at you, stands up, walks to another spot.
He's contemplating whether or not he wants to pursue this any further because he was mad that he completely disregarded one of what he thinks in his mind is one of the most important things to surviving on this island, like a map. And the captain is like passed out. It's like I got no one else to really, like, we finally have a chance to sit down and like look at this stuff. Seems like the most obvious thing to do, and I'm just like,
most of your party is passed out drunk.
so I'll go out of there. I don't know if I had any gas from whatever we ate before. I'd make sure I relieved it in there before I left, and then go out. Probably looking for somebody awake. Maybe finding Jokasha when she was finished with the shaman or whatever, and trying to discuss it with her.
Yeah, Jakashi's awake. Ryza, you don't see at all.
She's probably out hunting.
Don't know. Didn't see. But I'll say after a little bit of time has passed, Grimwald kind of just pretty much farting everywhere at this point. You hear a bunch of yelling from outside the palisade, and it looks like come running in. And now at this point, this yelling and some ogres running in finally starts. Ivar and Neduri, you can start kind of like stirring awake. It looks like two of the ones from earlier come running back. And they're heaving. It looks very like freaked out. You see the shaman guy. He can't really. He kind of like power hobbles over almost with his staff, and you see him listening. Oh. And he looks to you, sees you're awake, and says, "That's good." Then you see he looks back to the ogres. Says, 2 other lost, 4 lost. And he looks back to the guys. And see the shaman guy looks at you and then walks back to where his spot was at the fire. He picks up a collection of bones. Says, you help bring back 4 other brothers. Choice of bone.
What? Why do I want a bone? What's the bone do?
Well, you guys did see when last night he broke a bone, and then
Yeah, all the magical stuff.
yeah, it was like pretty much that's kind of how you get the general gist. You know that he has. Oh, that was another thing you got from the book. They used bone magic. That might be when, like, breaking the bones kind of sets off the spells or the cantrips, pretty much.
Okay.
Sorry, I was talking without unmuting. It's actually listed in the trade section of the book. Not that Neduri has read it, but that
What is?
the bones are a tradable commodity.
Yep. These guys specifically know how to infuse magic into them, and they don't cast spell. This is non-character knowledge. They are shamans, but they don't actually cast spells. They infuse bones with magic, and when they break the bone, that like sets off whatever they're trying to cast.
So would the lot of us have enough? See, in like 5e would be like an Arcana check to see if our character would know that the item would function as an activatable item by a character. So like, would we be knowledgeable enough, or at
No,
least
everyone, you're not going to get damaged from this because I'm going to say make a wand save. You're not going to die or hit point damage if you fail. Don't worry.
Oh, 14 plus 4 is an 18.
7.
Eight.
All right. So most of you know Grimwald. Surprisingly, like you, like he offers you bones, and you kind of your first thing is like, what the hell am I going to do with the bone?
And
But
then
then
it
you
popped in my head. I must have read it in the book.
well, between the book and then last night seeing him kind of like break the bone and stuff happening, you're like, crap, this may be like. You may think maybe that's like maybe that's an actual like wand or something, some type of magic item.
So I'll inform the rest of the rest of the party about that. I'll just be like, that's actually not a bad idea, guys. And I'll kind of give a very brief exposition using simple words on how these things might work.
So I would look to Grimwald at this point, and I would say, so if I understand it correctly, the deal is we have to go retrieve the bodies of the boar and the 2 ogres or whatever that died or got lost. Is that right? And then we get those bones.
I don't know if they died or if they just got
Say
lost.
bodies. You just asked like to help find them.
Oh, okay. So, but those 2, those big ogres, ran back here all panicked, and they want us to go out and find whatever did this, and then we get some bones that might be magical.
Well, these ogres aren't the big like warrior ones that you saw.
Sure.
I mean, yes, they are big, but they're not like. I mean, the warrior ones you saw at the whale place where they were massive. I mean, their arms look like trees, and they had these spiked clubs and stuff. They're not. They don't have that like warrior bearing to them.
Sure, fair enough. But if they're weak ogres, they're still bigger and stronger than us. So if they're running away, yeah. But yeah, so I would I would be like, so
Someone's like,
that's the deal here.
nothing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, he's offering you a
Magic
almost
item.
like it's almost like a scroll that anyone can use. Pretty much, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Mechanically, that's kind of how it's going to work. So it's almost it's going to work like a scroll that anyone can use.
Yeah, and I'd probably say I don't know what any of them do, but I mean,
Well, apparently none of them fix necrotic dwarf flesh. Just saying.
And I would say,
Neduri. Normally, you would recover 1 hit point from resting.
Oh no.
You don't. And if you look where that was scraped off and where your bone is showing, that whole area is now like an ooze.
Okay, so nothing we did really helped.
Nope.
Awesome.
Like you have a patch of skin that's now literally like that ooze you fought. It like looks like a little piece of that now and is on your arm.
Does it look like it's spreading?
No, it looks like just where it was before, where it looked like kind of rotted flesh. Now it's flat out. It's like ooze, and it's everywhere it was scraped off, and that like gap you made is now filled in with this ooze.
Okay. I will look at it like kind of, to myself, and when I see that, I'll just put back whatever covering I'm using, and just try to not pay it any mind.
So for out of character knowledge, you can't get your max HP now is 6, regardless.
Oh, okay. Like forever, do I need to keep note of my previous 8?
I mean, your HP is still, I think you're at 4, but your max is
I'm at 3 because of that.
Oh, that's 3. So you're still at
failure.
3. You didn't heal, but your max is now 6.
All right.
but is it 6 permanently, or is there should he keep track of like his previous max in case like some restoration happens?
You know what? Keep track of it just in case.
Wow. All right. Well, I guess I would say maybe seeing this, Neduri looking at his arm like, whoa, and seeing that, I'll be like, I need to pray for guidance and pray for wisdom, and hopefully, the Lord of Light will grant me the power to heal should one of us get injured again. If we can wait but a moment, let me do that, and then sure, we can head out. Maybe these bones will be able to be of some use to us later.
Oh, so you're gonna do your prayers to Iran?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yep. I think that also, like, when we first woke up and I realized that like the sun was already up, it wasn't dawn, which is when I normally wake up to do my prayers.
Oh, no, you're long past dawn.
Yeah. I would have recognized that, and I would have cursed in Dwarvish, and Neduri probably would have recognized that. Now I don't think I know Dwarvish, but I would have heard him saying it earlier, so you probably
know the curse words at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's good to know the curse words. Those are the important ones. But yeah, so as I kind of walk off a little bit to try to find a spot in the camp where like the sun is kind of beating down or whatever, and I'm cursing again in Dwarvish, like the 3 curse words that I know, and then I like look up at the sun, and hold the holy symbol up, and I'm like squinting, and then I'll do the prayers and all that.
All right. So everyone regains 1 hit point if you needed it. All right. Once again, I mean, Andros and Tal are still out. They're snoring very loudly. Billy's kind of off. You see him, he's reading a spellbook, but every so often you see him glance up at Grimwald. Like, make us like, I can see you. I know where you are. Riza, not in the campsite at all. No one saw her leave, but she's not there. All right. You trek out into the jungle. What 2 ogres couldn't do.
I want to go up to Neduri really quick, and because I haven't really spoken with him much since the escapades yesterday, everything. I'll kind of we'll probably have a quick exchange of like, hey, how's your arm doing? Well, blah blah blah.
Gribble like poking it.
Well, no, and I'll be like, well, that spot on your arm looks like if it were to get hit or something like that would hurt a lot. And I was just wondering, and I'll kind of pull off like a little. I'll have a short length of rope, but like not a thick one, that like an intertwined one, like maybe one of the strands of the rope, and I'll have one of these extra scales that I took off, and I'll offer to like tie that around as protection on his arm for that spot getting hit. Is it not big enough, or is it?
No, you have enough scales. You could easily do that. It'll take a little. Well, I guess while Ivar is praying, you could make this makeshift like
scale mail.
Like almost like a scale mail patch.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Just tying some maybe 2 or 3, however many it takes to patch that area so it's covered at least.
Yeah, I mean it does cover it, but I mean you see the scales, they sink a little bit into it. They don't go like sink in, but like they sink because the rope is pulling them. They sink in a little bit, but so it looks like the scale
is, but like tries to hide it.
So it looks like the scales are like kind of part of your arm now at this point.
Yeah, I have him hold them still while I tie, not touching it.
That probably looks pretty badass.
So do I get any additional AC for that?
If it's targeted at that arm, maybe. All right. Jokashi, you're a ranger, so I'll say you can. I mean, they weren't even trying to hide tracks, so you can easily find these tracks and track them if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll follow where they went. Follow their trail.
All right, and you can see it. There's a trail of 4 large, probably what you think are the ogres' feet, and then there's a 4-legged. It's this big boar, kind of like trailing behind them. And they go. Now, how are you going in the jungle?
Carefully.
Carefully.
You mean like
weapons out, or?
I want to say I want to have my weapon out, but I'm actually following the trail, so I don't necessarily have it out and ready, but it is within, like, I've got it prepped so I can grab it if I need to in a hurry.
Okay.
But it's not currently in my hands.
Okay. So I want to say after about, it looks like 10 minutes, the trail, it looks like it stops. And it looks like all 4 of them went off in different directions. Looks like the boar went with one of them.
And it was the boar didn't come back, and
right.
I'm going to tell everybody that they split up here, but the boar and one of them went this way, and I'm inclined to follow that one because we know the boar didn't come back, and if we're trying to find what they ran into.
Okay. I say you probably go another 20 minutes deeper into the jungle. You start hearing loud squealing up ahead. I mean, still in front of you is still like the jungle's thick, but you can easily hear squealing up ahead.
As soon as I hear the squealing, that's when the bow comes out and gets readied.
All right. And then you also hear afterwards. You hear not. I'm gonna say a hissing noise, but not like a snake hissing. like more like speech, like a hiss, like a. You start hearing like almost like hissing speech, if that makes sense. And you hear multiple of those up ahead.
Are we with her, or is she out ahead of us?
That's a good question. Did you all follow Jokashia?
I guess that would be up to her if she had decided.
Yeah. I mean, I
go
think
ahead of us.
I think we probably would have followed her, but yeah, whether or not she's immediately within view or
Right.
not, yeah.
So Jokashia, did you try and kind of like stealth your way through?
I was tracking these guys specifically. Like, I'm not trying to like I guess like leave the party behind at all.
Okay.
I'm tracking, making sure we're all going the same direction, like following who the people were trying to track. Once we start hearing squealing, though, I think she would stop. She would prepare her weapon, and she would turn back to the rest of them and kind of see what they wanted to do. I could approach more silently at this point, if
Okay.
that's what.
So Jokashia kind of motions you all to stop. Now you all start hearing like squeal. It sounds like squealing, like high pitched squealing, and you start hearing this like hissing, like speech almost. And that's when, like, as you stop, you can all hear that, and then Jokashia starts to kind of creep forward.
Actually, before she steps ahead, I'll put my hand on her shoulder and I'll say, "Hold on. I'm really small. I could probably sneak up there and not get not get seen."
Do you have your bandolier?
What is a bandolier? Like, I know it's my pink thing. It's the thing that goes across me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If that hinders me, I can take that
That
off.
kind of like drags on the ground.
Yeah, I would take that off.
Same with that. Well, it's a normal long sword, but for you, it's like a two-handed sword.
Right. Is that going to impede anything?
For stealth, yeah.
Okay, I'll take that off as well, and I will hand it to Jokashia. It's just a regular old longsword. And my bandolier with glass. I believe it has glass vials in it, or at least one, if I'm not mistaken.
It has multiple like little pouches on it. 3 of them are sealed. You can't get them open.
Oh. Okay.
That's what it is.
So, yeah, I would hand her those things, and as long as that is okay, then I would probably try to sneak. As long as she would let me, I would sneak up ahead.
Okay.
Um.
You're not even got the roll. There's a lot of noise. So for you,
Yeah, there's only a 10% chance I will be detected.
Yeah. Let's see.
As a halfling.
I got 95, so you're fine. So you're able to, even with the misstep, nothing seems to. There's a lot. As close you get, it's getting louder, and you kind of creep up, and there's this. It's not quite a clearing. I mean, it's not thick jungle. I mean, there's still trees, but there's enough like open ground. You see the big gray boar, the one that you saw getting let out. It is surrounded by. Oh, and there is a dead ogre body kind of on the other side of this clearing, and they're surrounded by these. They're human sized. They are. It's not the snake people that they showed you in like the sand picture. These look like actual like lizards. They have this like dark brown and orange skin. 2 of them, one of them like kind of standing back, looks like he's directing them. He's got looks like some like a metal like a chainmail shirt on, and he's got like stood in the ground. He's carrying like a trident. The other 2 have, I mean, for better terms, they're kind of like naked. They have nothing on them, and they have their claws, and they're like surrounding this boar.
How many are
They're
there?
not on fire. Like they told you, fire lizards. These things are not on fire. There's 3 of them.
And are they bipedal, or do their torsos come down to?
Oh no, they're
slithers?
bipedal.
Oh, okay.
They're about I mean, they're taller than you, but they're about like human size.
And they took down this ogre. It looks like anyway.
You see one ogre is face down. If there's another one, you can't see it.
And the boar is dead.
No, the boar's alive. It's squealing. They're like surrounding and kind of playing with it. This thing is like screaming out in terror. It's funny though, this boar is, I mean, it's a huge boar, but this thing, it's scared.
But I just realized this is kind of a meta thing. But I just realized in the fourth wall, maybe I transmit this to Grimwald. But I just realized that like the fate of everybody's life literally depends on, like, I could screw everybody over by just like jumping out in the middle and then running back to the party. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, I just realized
Yeah.
like that's a
I'd say
hefty
Grimwald
weight.
could probably realize that. Like, yeah, if I don't say anything, that could be fun.
Yeah, no. He values himself far too much to endanger himself like that. Although he is growing fond of the party. So I think what he would do at that point is I would just size them up the best that I could. Do any of them look damaged from any kind of fight? Because I'm sure that ogre wouldn't have gone down without some kind of fight.
They don't. I mean, if you stop and look at them, it looks like. No, I was going to think of a roll. I'll say no. If you actually stop and like watch him, it looks like the one kind of standing back that's got the armor and a weapon. His like bearing, his posture, it looks like he's a warrior. He's just like, he looks like he knows how to fight. And it looks like the other ones, he's almost like training them, or this is like trying to teach him something. That's kind of what this looks like, because they didn't like run in and kill this thing. They're like playing with it, circling it. They make swipes at it. You can see there's a couple like claw marks on the side of the board. It doesn't look like it's hurt, but you see a couple like scratch marks on it. And you see, I mean, you can hear this hit. No idea what they're saying to each other. You can't understand this language. But definitely looks like he's more like, this thing could easily. He could just go in, kill this thing, be done. He's saying something to them. Kind of looks like he's giving them, you don't know, training, or is this a test? You can't tell.
All right.
But he's kind of standing back and directing these ones somehow.
I will back off of that quietly and make my way back to the party and then describe to them exactly everything that you just said. There's one that is stronger, very warrior-esque, has on armor. The other two don't appear to be quite as venerated as him, but nonetheless are foreboding. That looks like they killed one of the ogres, and they've got the boar kind of cornered and are playing with it. Is it just us four, or do we have the other people with us as well?
When you left, they were still passed out.
That's right. Okay.
Did Billy? Let's see. Would Billy have gone with? You know what?
He probably wouldn't have gone with Grimwald.
Yeah, he. It looks like he was getting up and thinking about it, and then he hit. Grimwald walked in front of him, and he just like, you just saw this like anger flare, and he just sat right back down.
He needs therapy. But yeah. So I'll just put it to the group. I'll be like,
annoyed the mage.
And so
if it's a battle of egos he wants.
Yeah.
You'll put up a good fight for that.
Grimwald is like, no, this is the game of my people. We will not lose. I would, so as Grimwald is explaining this, I would kind of look over to him, and then I would look back at Neduri, and I would look back to Grimwald, and I would say, they just wanted us to find the bodies, correct? That was the deal?
I think so. As he's receiving his things back from Jokasha, his longsword and his bandolier, making sure everything fits nicely back together again.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like a great idea to, in our condition anyway, to go fight armed warriors. Perhaps we just let them do whatever they are going to do with this boar, and then drag the bodies back when they're done with it. And this is probably fairly uncharacteristic of Ivar to suggest something so dishonorable, but nonetheless, it happened.
I'm all for that suggestion. That is the first thing that you have said that makes sense to me. Like, yes, you get it now. Finally. There is no shame in running away and stabbing somebody in the back. I'll say that out loud. I was like, finally, you get it.
Neduri feels kind of shameful about it, but agrees without like meeting anybody's eyes. Like it sounds pretty smart to him too.
I mean, Grimwald the Flatulent and Neduri Jello are like our, are the new names for you guys. So yeah, I think.
So I think Jakasha is looking at all of you kind of like with this unbelievable, like she can't believe what she's hearing from you guys, but she's not going to wait in there by herself. So
as you all come to that decision, you hear what sounds like a twig snap behind you. And whoever turns around, you see Rise is there, and she's like this. And you can see flanking her are two ogres. She kind of like, and you can see around each ogres, these are, well, you think of the two of the ones who left earlier, you're not positive, but they each have what looks like a black centipede like wrapped over their shoulder. Like freshly killed. Ryza kind of like, she very quietly sneaks up and kind of like, I went up to scout. What's going on?
I assume we fill her in to exactly what is happening.
Okay. Then she kind of like looks and is like, well, we're gonna get the pig.
Do we need the pig?
I don't know. Weren't you told? Well, why are you here?
And I think I would kind of interrupt Grimwald at this point, and I would be like, because she brought two ogres with her, right?
She got two ogres with her,
yeah. And I'm like, yeah, now we have to go get the pig.
Put in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look over to Neduri and I'll be like, so, yeah, you don't look so hot. You've got like those throwing axes, right? Maybe you could just hang back a little bit.
That's axe singular. Yeah. And Neduri kind of looks at his kit, and yeah, I mean he's got some spikes like tent stake, rock climbing pitten, like steel spikes.
Yeah, I see you. Okay, I see you. And so Grimwald, he had this thought as he was coming back, but now that you are searching through his pack or through your pack, I'm like, wait, what if instead of just charging in there and taking on like a trained warrior, we don't know how strong they are. What if we lure them into a trap? I've got rope. I'm sure other people. We've got rope. We've got stuff we can do to bring them in to us.
Yeah.
We have you, too.
And I would look to Jokasha and I would say, see, now you're finally talking sense, something that makes sense to me for the first time. Like intentionally being obtuse, like, mimicking Grimwald's words. And then I would say...
And I intentionally overlook what she said because it's okay for her to say that. But then I look at you and I'm like, I gotta give you the scowl.
Yeah. But I would say, but you had mentioned that there were only 4, correct? 4 of these?
I think there's only 3.
3, okay. We have 2 archers. Perhaps if they were to scout ahead, thin the numbers a little bit, we wouldn't even have to worry about the other. I would imagine it wouldn't stand and fight against arrows from the woods. Maybe that should be our plan. Before we try any traps, of course. With or without bait.
So yeah, either we sneak in there and do that, or we set up the ambush with us here, the arrows ready for when they come. Either way.
An ambush. Not a bad idea.
So what's the plan?
I'll just say, like, well, you got those spikes, right, Neduri? You said?
Yeah, but Neduri's kind of looking, and he's got several flasks of oil, and kind of thinking about using himself as bait, and then just like smashing a flask of oil on the ground and tossing the hooded lantern into it, and just lighten up whatever it is.
All right, you might have this crazy look in your eyes as you're thinking about
Yeah,
that.
oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
no, totally.
yeah, I'm like, no, wait. Let's set that aside for right now. You have spikes, like caltrops kind of thing. We can use that, bring them in here. They'll step their feet. You don't have to, like, do all that.
Is it pretty obvious that Neduri doesn't really have like a lot of weapons?
I mean, I do. I've got a hand axe and a warhammer,
Okay.
but that's it.
They're all
I had
close
a
in
mace,
weapons.
but we lost it at sea.
I think at this point, because Jakashia she's all about her bow. She made that makeshift spear at one point. She's just gonna hand that to you. You might be able to take care of it. I mean, you could throw it if anything.
What's its damage?
We have it as just a spear damage, so it's a D6, or two-handed it's a D8, or you could throw it for a D6.
Cool.
So I'll turn to Ivar, and I'll say, what do you think?
I say we send the archers forward. Let them thin out the numbers and see what happens. Worst comes to worst, they run back here and we prepare for battle.
I'll look to Ryza. I'm like, what about you?
I'm okay with shooting.
Okay.
She takes out like 5 arrows, just puts them in the ground right next to her.
I'll pull out my crossbow and go hide in a bush somewhere.
All right. So is that what we're going to do? We're going to have the archers unload and then...
Yeah, but as
That's pretty much our
Grimwald
combat.
as Grimwald pulls out his crossbow, I would be like, forgot you do have some skill with ranged weapons. Why don't you accompany Yokasha and Ryza there? If we can take out all 3 at once, well, there's no danger left at all, is there?
Did you not hear my description of them? They're like lizard men. Lizards have scales, thick scales. I sincerely doubt that 3 archers are going to kill them.
Well, I mean, you just shoot him in the head, right?
You just shoot him in the head, right?
No, I'm asking. Like, you just shoot him in the head, right?
Grimwald at this point, like, points the crossbow at Ivar's head.
Yeah.
Like, you shoot him in the head, right?
and at that point, I would back off and be like, fine, hide in the trees if you wish.
I do wish, and I will. Thank you.
So, Grimwald, do you climb up a tree?
Oh, I don't climb up a tree. I just kind of stay off. If there's any kind of clearing that our archer friends will be running back into, as they, kind of lure them back in, I'll be waiting there with my crossbow to the first thing I could shoot.
Okay. So, Jokasha, since you're part of this, how are you setting up?
sorry, mute wasn't working there. So I guess like they're in a clearing at this point that we can't see from here, right? Like it's how far ahead was
No,
it?
that's right. You're pretty much all relying on what Grimwald told you. It's not far ahead, but it's a clearing. It's not like a full blown like the jungle ends in a circle and then the jungle starts again. It stops being like thick jungle. There are still trees, but there's some open ground, and then it goes back in like thick jungle.
So I want to get to a place where I have got vantage of the enemy, but I want to be like still some feet back. Obviously, I don't want to be seen. I want to be kind of hidden in some of that foliage
Okay.
that's still there.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like Riza and I maybe we're like not quite flanking the area, but definitely two different sides of it so that we can kind of shoot from both sides at the same time.
Arrows. So she wouldn't have done that back there. So she'll kind of like nod, and I guess you'll go one way. She kind of goes on the other side.
Yeah.
And then Grimwald, are you kind of like staying in the middle with your crossbow?
As they kind of split apart, is there a tree that's easily climbable?
Yeah, it's a jungle. Why not?
Yeah, so I actually will try to climb up into a tree and
Okay.
perch.
Okay.
Not very high, the lowest branch.
Neduri and Ivar, what do you? How are you prepping?
Battle stance, of course.
Now, wherever you, pretty much Ivar and Neduri, like those two ogres are right behind you, and they have their giant like clubs at the ready.
I mean, I think we probably would like have backed up into the trees a little bit just for some cover, in case something comes in here, and then we can charge out. But I know I would be ready with the warhammer and everything, just preparing for some battle.
All right. So Jokasha, when you get in place, you can see exactly what Grim will describe. It's a quasi clearing with these like lizard people. They're like dark brown, some orange, some red, like skin coloring. And one of them, almost looks like a military commander, just his bearing and his poise. And two, you assume maybe they're like younglings are like teasing this boar, terrorizing this boar.
I am going to aim for the nasty looking one.
Ah, okay. Okay, Grimwald, who are you aiming at?
Oh, can I see from here?
Oh, are you staying back and perching, or did you?
Yeah, I was under the impression that I'm staying back with
right.
the melee
Okay.
crowd.
And then Ryza, you don't know what Ryza does? All right.
So are we considered to be within short range then, like 70 feet or less?
Oh, yes, this is, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely short range.
Okay, baby. Oh, that's a horrible roll. So it's a 5 on the die, but I have like a lot of bonuses because it's a bow and everything. So it's a total of 11.
All right. So, hold on, let me check. Okay. So you let go, you hear the twang of the bow, and you can hear Ryza's shot go off also. Jokasha, you aim at the armored guy, and you can swear that as the arrow comes, he kind of like looks up. You're not sure if he's looking at you with the arrow, and he just kind of like does this quick, like he just kind of like very like a confident like sidestep, and arrow just whizzes right by him. Now Ryza, on the other hand, did hit. Holy cow! Okay.
And I take it you added your +1 for the short range, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay. I figured you did because you asked. So.
All right. So, but on the other hand, Ryza, you see her arrow. One of the ones terrorizing the boar smacks right into the side of its like neck, and it looks like it's about to cough, and no noise comes out, and it just like she just severed like every like artery or blood in there, and it just collapses, no sound.
Dang.
You see the leader guy, he twirls the trident, holds it at the ready, and you see him start scanning. And he hisses something to the other one, and the unarmored one gets close to this guy, and they're just standing there. You see they're backing up a little bit, but they're standing there looking. Okay, so let me make sure. Okay. But they stop at like the edge of the forest and they look. Let's do initiative now. Okay.
5.
I've forgotten. How do we do initiative again?
D6.
D6. Not
D6. Okay.
Plus whatever your dex modifier.
Ooh, so 7.
6.
Your mod?
4.
4. Okay. All right. So that's what they looked like they got ready and they start backing up. Jokasha, you're up again.
Okay, this time she's going to, we'll try aiming at that armored guy again. Oh, dang, that's like a 6. So 12.
12.
So,
All right.
my hands are shaking because this guy's scary.
You let the arrow go, and it looks like it's dead on, but that trident goes up, and he just puts up the trident and it shatters your arrow, not far from where it hits him. And he just pulls the trident down again. Do you want to move at all? I mean, you can see him look. It doesn't look like they know exactly where you are, but...
No, at this point, I'm going to stay where I am.
Okay. Neduri, you're up. What would Neduri do? You start hearing arrows not far ahead of you. You start hearing the of arrows.
Yeah, I mean my range is pretty short though. Like 20 feet is like normal range for everything. So I'm probably gonna just hang back and just watch what the others are doing for now and just ready the spear.
Wait until all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I ready an action though if they start heading this way?
You can, yeah.
Yeah. So if anything gets within 20 feet of me, I'm spearing.
Okay. All right, Ivar.
Yeah, if Neduri stays, then I'll stay as well. Figuring the archers will just retreat if it gets too much, and then we can spring our ambush. So I will ready an action as well.
Okay. Grimwald.
Now that I hear arrows firing, can I use my move action to move up into range while still being concealed or anything like that? Like, what's the set?
Yeah, if you want to,
possible? Yeah, I'd like to kind of.
Did you climb down out of the tree?
I hopped down. I was on the lowest branch.
Oh, all right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hop down and run through the bushes, and I see these guys kind of looking around or whatever, and then I'd like to take a
see one of them down with like an arrow stuck in its neck.
Yeah.
I'll say when you popped in views, that's when you saw this guy with the trident just shatter that arrow in front of him.
Yeah, I immediately go down. Well, no, I lean up against a tree, and I steady my aim as quickly as possible, and I take a shot at him as he's doing that. Try to catch him off guard.
Okay.
It's 15.
All right. So you catch him. So you let loose your bolt, and he doesn't do the whole shatter your bolt thing, but what it does, it hits him like square in the chest, and you can see it just boom bounce right off his armor. Almost there.
Dang it.
All right. Oh, so it's the ogres and Ryza's turn. Oh, Ryza did not hit. I rolled like crap for her. All right. So from the other side, you hear another, and it like hits the ground. It goes like over the guy and like in the ground, not far in front of him. You see him, he like spins his head behind him now, and he takes that trident like a wide arc, and he's like covering the other guy, but you can tell now he now realizes he's flanked, and it looks like he's starting to move towards the jungle, like almost like a withdrawal. Oh, now the ogres go.
What's going on with the boar during all of this?
Oh, that's a good question. The boar, as soon as Rise's arrow killed that one and it backed up, the boar took off into the woods. Not the woods, the jungle. All right. So now the ogres. Neduri and Ivar, you are kind of near the ogres. You see them. You hear like the growling almost. They're saying something to each other, and then there's lumbering step. They just run out into that clearing with the clubs out. Yeah, that one missed. That one. Oh, that one will hit the guy. Wow. Okay, not dead. But... All right. So the ogres run out, and one of them winds up the club, smacks the main guy, just hits this club is probably as big as him, hits the guy, and he goes in the air a little bit and then collapses to the ground. But you can see, definitely hurt him. The hand holding trident, he pulls that arm up, plants it in the ground, and kind of uses that to stand back up. And he just looks still, going like, the other one came try almost the same move, like a wind up and then swing, but the other lizard person just kind of like ducked. He went like high for that. He almost like was going to take his head off of the club. This thing just like ducked. So now there are two ogres out in the field. All right, Jokasha, you're up again.
Can I still aim at the armored guy?
Yeah, he's not in the same spot, but you can still see him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's hope I roll better. Oh, that is better. Yay. So that's a 23.
That will hit.
Okay. Is he considered a humanoid? Because that is my chosen enemy.
No, this is not a. He doesn't qualify. No, he doesn't qualify for that.
Okay. And so it our damage is just straight the D.
Yep, whatever the die is.
So 5.
Oh, all right. I'll let you describe how you take him out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this guy who's been dodging and smashing my arrows and having them bounce off, this time, well, he is a little bit, I guess, distracted by these ogres jumping out. This next shot just nails him, we'll say like straight in the face, like it hits like through his eye, and just he almost just like stops before he falls.
So I'll say, as soon as he got up and he started cursing at that ogre, like, as he finishes that, right in the forehead. And it as it hits, he just kind of stands there. And then just kind of, the trident drops. And it just kind of like falls over. And you can see this body, like, just as it hits the ground, like, his arm like flaps up. And he's dead. He's got an arrow right through the head. All right, Neduri.
Neduri will kind of look over to Ivar and kind of just like,
yeah, your ogres left you.
yeah, and I guess Neduri will kind of take off and make himself useful.
Oh man, and as he's doing that, I'm following after him, but I'm like, Neduri, they'll be fine. They'll come back if they need our help.
So Neduri's gonna try and get close enough to hit that 20-foot range.
I mean, if you walk out into the clearing and want to, yeah, I mean, it's just the one left.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
All right, so Neduri just, Ivar's like, I looked at that fun. Neduri just goes up.
Yeah, the spear totally misses.
What'd you get?
Well, I cocked the first roll and then I rolled a 5.
Okay.
It
This
was,
guy's
I
armor
rolled
class
a 3 + 2.
All right, this guy's armor class isn't as high, but all right. So you go out, and I'll say, you know what? Since it's kind of like a makeshift spear. You're used to throwing like an actual spear, and your grip on this thing is not the same, and it kind of like spins as you throw it, and it just. I mean, it went in things general direction, but
Yeah, just kind of
actually
wobbled
you came
out.
closer to hitting an ogre. You didn't actually, but like you actually came closer to hitting an ogre than the lizard guy.
Yeah, Neduri will
wow.
cringe in reaction and then kind of hobble backwards.
Yeah.
All right, Ivar.
Well, I guess now that we are engaged and Neduri has maybe foolishly left our position, I, at this point, frustrated, but thinking that maybe pressing the attack against this lone enemy might be the best course, I'll rush in and attempt to engage in melee combat with him.
The cleric. The cleric is the one who goes into melee.
Yeah, and it doesn't go so well. 6, I think.
Oh.
6.
Nope.
Nope, 6. So you go in with your hammer, and it. You know what? You just go for a swing, and it does. This guy is very like he just once again like ducks and weaves out of the other hammer's way.
Yep.
And it is. Yes, it is their turn. Last turn I spent on the withdrawal and avoided it. So as he dodges it, you can see his other hand comes with a claw is going at you. Okay, I rolled a 1. All right. So you come in with the hammer. It goes to like weave, and you can see its claws coming out, but it like crosses its own feet by accident, and the thing just trips and goes prone right in front of you. That die is done for tonight. All right. That's the third like crappy number I rolled on it. All right, Grimwald.
Well, I'm pretty much gonna probably spend this turn reloading my crossbow.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna roll. So one of the ogres just like walks over, the sticks on the ground. It just takes its club, smash, and you just see as it hits this thing, you just see this like blood and goo just pop up from where the impact zone is. And you see they both ogres kind of like look at each other and you kind of hear them laugh. All right, combat's now done. See, that was purposely set up that if you guys charged in, you would have gotten slaughtered probably.
Yeah, this ain't my first rodeo.
That would be completely out of character for all of us.
Yeah.
All right.
That.
No, that was
I
good.
did, but when there was one guy left, because I ain't stupid.
All right.
But the boar is still missing, right? As far as we.
Yeah, you can hear it. It's I mean squealing the whole time. It is going away from where you are.
Gotcha.
Ryza actually says, "I'll get that," and then you see her. She takes up a couple of arrows to the left and just boom, running, just straight run after the boar. But surprisingly, it makes no noise at all while she runs. All right, so you're left here now with a couple ogres with these giant clubs. Now what?
I look around and I'm like, "Where's the boar?"
Ryza went to get it.
Well, yeah, and I would look to Grimwald as he says that, and I would be like, "So, tell me if I'm wrong. I've heard a story once that your people were quite proficient in pig wrestling. Is that true?
You're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would the answer have changed if you said no?
I'll just say, and I once heard that your people are good at no one thing in particular at all. So sounds like we both have heard things.
Well, yeah, but I guess my question is, somebody told me this story. I don't know if it's true. I was just wondering if you could confirm it. I mean, humans tend to be decent at everything. I mean, not one in particular, but maybe not pig wrestling. I don't know.
The world rests on the back of a turtle, and every time the turtle moves, a new generation begins. There, I just told you a story. Do you believe it?
And I would turn and I would look to Neduri and I would say, "Do you understand what he's saying? I don't." He's speaking common, right?
Neduri kind of rolls his eyes and just grabs around his elbow with the non-jello arm. Just kind of shrugs and walks off and picks up the spear.
And then I guess I'll shrug and just and be like, "Well, I guess Raz is going to get the boar, so perhaps we wait here."
I think Jakasha probably heard the last, like, kind of comes in partway through that conversation, and she can see that Grimwold is not impressed with your question. So as you turn to Neduri to say, like, well, what's going on? She kind of just like like bumps you as she passes past you, like, like, dude. And she's going to head towards the fallen lizard guy with the trident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And check that out.
Well, he's got his trident. It's fine. That's mechanically it would work as a pole arm. He's got a suit of chainmail that took bludgeoning damage, so it's in one piece. The only other thing he's got on him was this small. It looked like it was part of the chainmail modified to be like almost like a leather pouch. There was a glass like vial in it, and it had this. Michael will get a kick out of this. Like a clear, translucent liquid in it that almost like glitters.
Is the vial not broken?
That's not broken, no.
Oh, okay.
Drink it.
No, I'm not going to drink it. But I'm totally. She's going to take the time to remove the chainmail, gather this stuff up. If anybody wants any of this stuff, she's not going to like put any of this on. It's not for her, but she's definitely all business right now, getting what we could from this thing.
Is there anything particularly interesting about its scales? Does it have scales or skin?
Yes, it has scales, but they're not copper like the snake. These are like actual like lizard scales.
What a weirdo! Sorry, I love it. Halflings are actually masters of taxidermy. Now I know.
Now, Neduri, what you hear next is a sound that you almost don't believe. It sounded like it came from where they were, the part of the jungle they were trying to withdraw. You could have sworn you heard, not only you heard this, more for character, almost like a neighing.
Neduri like gasps
And like
so hard.
Hey, you almost like, wait a minute, did I really hear that?
It almost becomes a whistle at the top end of the gas, like everybody in the clearing would probably like look like, what is going on with old Jello arm over there? And then he'll just look back at everybody like, "Did you hear that?"
I'd say none of you probably did. It wasn't
if
just
anybody
him, but
tries
like
to
his
answer,
character
I
just
will-
like heard it and it was like, oh my, I know what that is.
Yeah.
As you say that though, did you hear it? It doesn't happen again.
No. Hear what?
Just like I know I asked, but I don't want to hear the answer. And Neduri is just like,
Do you move closer?
yeah, probably kind of with abandoning realistic survival thought here. Yeah.
All right. So it'd be like from where you entered this clearing, it's like entering the jungle kind of on the other side. I'll say you're kind of like walking across the clearing at this point, like that. As you get closer, you hear some type of almost like the sound. It's hoofs stomping the ground.
I'm going for the pony, man.
So you go into the jungle.
Is anybody going to try and stop me?
No, I'll follow you wherever you're going.
All right. So I'll do it like this. Neduri is acting a little odd. He's like walking his ear. He's just like Neduri's probably like scared shitless out of his life, probably for the last day because of what's happened. You see this big beaming smile on his face, and he just, he kind of like, I'll say he runs, but you can almost see it's like a happy like bounce run. You break into the forest, and I would say probably like 50 feet in, not too far past the clearing, tied to a jungle tree is a pony that's got some like pouches slung over its side. And Michael, I will let you describe what the pony looks like.
Oh snap! So it looks exactly like the one I'm supposed to be, or that I was originally intending to pick up. So it's like a chestnut, like really just like this beautiful brown horse with like fuzzy extra long hair around its feet, and like the mane's kind of covering its eyes a little bit. She's probably super uncomfortable in the jungle. But yeah, it's like a little Sebastian version of a Clydesdale.
Amazing. I think I would come up like right behind Neduri as he's like stopped and like looking at this thing, like, whatever. And I think I would like look to him and then look over at this thing. I mean, it is a horse, right? It is a pony.
Yeah, it's an actual
okay.
pony.
All right. And then I would look to him and be like, Neduri, you found it.
Yeah, you're not hallucinating. It's an actual it's an actual pony.
Then I just whisper like, I'm gonna ride it.
Be like, it's got saddlebags, which means somebody probably rode it here.
It doesn't have a saddle. It's got like these pouches that are like slung over it.
Yeah, but I mean, they look like they would probably be sacks to carry something.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that it didn't put it there itself. So I would say, but like somebody clearly put those saddlebags on this. Maybe we should wait just a little bit and see if somebody comes back. And then you can ride it.
If they come back, maybe there's more.
Yeah,
there's more ponies.
There could be a whole herd of them.
Yeah, I like the way you think.
Let's wait and see. But now I'm in a bit of a position because I don't trust him to like for me to go back and tell the others, because I feel like he'll be like, pretty, and so.
And I do not feel like I could leave the pony here and go back with you.
Yeah, so I think we're stuck here watching this horse and hoping that our companions will show up.
I guess let's go quick. Grimold and Jokasha, Neduri kind of took off. Ivar followed him. Do you guys just kind of stay looking at each other like what the hell's going on, or do you follow? Grimmel's like, eh.
I think Jakashi was actually so, like, she was busy dealing with this dead body that she might not have even noticed Neduri left.
You know what? That's true. Yeah, while you were doing that, that's kind of when Neduri took off. I mean, I'll say you noticed that he took off, and then you saw Ivar follow not far behind.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's even worried at this point because, you know, Ryza took off after the boar. So
The two ogres are just they're just hanging out in that clearing.
yeah, I don't know. I think I don't think she'd go after them right away. She's gonna, because they'll come back.
Yeah.
As far as she knows, right?
Body.
Yeah, I'm looting this body. I'm getting this stuff off, waiting for Ryza to return with the boar, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Grimwald.
Yeah, there's nothing on the body for him. So I guess I'll just kind of stand guard. No, I take that back. I want to head over to the other ogre, our ogre friend who died in battle.
Okay.
Or however he died, and I just want to give his body a check over. Is it apparent how he died? Is there anything of value or anything identifiable on him that we
It's
can take
laying
back?
face down. There is where his hand is, not far from it. You do see like the kind of standard ogre club. From kind of like the backside of his body, you don't see any wounds. So it looks like at some point, as you go over and you before you kind of like loot the ogre, the other ogres come over and they kind of like, the two of them, they kind of like pick up the body. And you can see as they pick it up, its neck, the front of the neck, looks like the trident, like you see like 3 open like wounds right in its neck. It looks like trident took it right down.
I might have zoned out for a second there. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So before you can really loot the body, they kind of come over, they grab that, and then they start heading back. They go into jungle. It looks like they're kind of heading back towards the camp.
Well then, well, there's no boar here, so these guys are dead. We've got the ogre body. I just say we go back.
And then at this point, should we do that? No. You see, kind of want to. You hear something crashing through the jungle, and you start hearing the squealing again. And what breaks into the clearing, you see Ryza is literally like riding this boar back in, but it looks like it does not want her on there. So it runs into the clearing, and then the boar, when it sees kind of like everything else, it just digs its feet in and like stops. And Ryza kind of like flings off it. And she doesn't take damage. She kind of like flings off it and then kind of like does this nice roll out of it and gets up. And the boar's just you can see the boar just stand there and it's like panting heavy. She stands up and is like, well, I found the boar.
That you did.
She looks around like, where'd
parkour?
Where'd the ogres go?
They pick their fallen brethren. I believe they're heading back to the the boar pit.
The boar pen, yeah. Then she looks around. Where's the holy man and the dwarf?
This Drakash is now really looking around because like they should have been back by now, and she's like, I thought they followed you out.
Yeah, and I look up. I'm like, I was just mesmerized by the neck wounds and just staring off into space. Like, wait, what?
No, or she came in is like the opposite way of where they went out. And so when you say thought they were with you, she's like, I didn't see them that way.
Huh. And Jakashi would look to Grimwald. Do you know where they went?
He racked his brain for a second and he's like, did Neduri mention anything before he walked off at the sound of a horse? I don't remember. Did he just wander off?
I kind of cinematically did it where he was just hearing a horse and was like, and it just ran off.
Yes, I'm just like, I don't know. But he really needs to get that arm figured out because this is getting ridiculous.
All right. Neduri, we'll go back to you. Well, I guess Neduri and Ivar. Now, after the initial shock of like, holy cow, there's a sexual pony here. What now?
I almost imagine it's a scene where like Neduri keeps like wanting to go out and Ivar keeps saying, not yet. Not yet.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally like 3-year-old kid in like the store, like dinner's almost there, but there's candy displays all the way around.
Yep.
Yeah, and Neduri is just like really testing his mental fortitude here.
Actually, that might be a good place to actually end the session. As the camera zooms out, people are in the clearing, kind of like, where in the hell are these people? And then it's almost like it's a drone flying to clear, and then it goes over to where the pony is, and you can just Neduri's just standing in front of like, and Ivar's standing like
having to tug me back.
And so you're like this, and you're like reaching for it, and Ivar's just kind of like tugging on your clothes.
Right. Like, I told you, be patient.
Yep. And then that's where we'll end the session.
Amazing.
Have you ever seen Jurassic Park? Have you seen what happens to the goat? They tie it up in the middle, and then something big comes and eats it.
That is true, yes.
No!
Nope. Not today. Neduri will sacrifice himself if he has to. I know it.
Yeah, I'll cut my arm off and use that as a ranged weapon.
Yeah, I'm like, Ivar, do it. I'm like, I only have a hammer.
Fling the ooze at it.
Oh my God, we finally found the pony.
All right, so that will conclude session 6 of Hot Springs Island. The answers await. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back in the future to pick up with a pony in the woods. Happy gaming, all.
Happy gaming. And remember, like, subscribe, comment, share it, do all that stuff. YouTube.